Hi guys. Hello, hello. All right, you guys. I am sharing my videos. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. If you guys are coming on, say hi, where you're from. Hello. For everyone jumping on, say hi. Tell me where you're from, all that good stuff, especially if I don't know you. My hair is a little out of control again today. Guys, I have a really good topic today, so I'm super, super excited. Let me just finish up my notes and give people a couple minutes. Not a couple minutes, a couple seconds. Cool. I think I'm going to speak pretty conversationally about this because this is an interesting topic for me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin because I'm too excited to not. For those who don't know me, my name is Justine Leslie, and I'm an intuitive and spiritual coach. I help people heal through intuition, spirituality, universal law, and philosophy. And I do this so I can help people create a life of freedom, whether that's emotional freedom, physical freedom, whatever it is, mostly emotional, and find their truth, right? Live a life of truth. So, yay! Thanks for joining, guys. I also work with empaths. If you're empathic, I'm a good person to follow. I have a couple of videos about how to deal with being empathic, which means that you absorb energy very deeply, which in turn means that it's very hard to live in this world as somebody that is super, super sensitive and absorbing everything left and right. So I like giving tips on how to manage that. And then I'm also a supporter of people going through spiritual awakening. Been there, done that, constantly growing. It's kind of like a whole new world of consciousness, and I'm here for support. So if any of that resonates with you, I do encourage you to follow me. I do Facebook Live videos almost every weekday. I try to be consistent with it, but yeah, follow me. Either here on my personal page, or I actually have 2 business pages, which I can share below. Anywho, let me begin. So I wanted to talk today about when you want to make other people happy. And what do I mean by this? So I'm sure everybody here has been part of some type of unit. And hey, Lance. And when I say some type of unit, I'm mostly talking about some type of close-knit, intimate relationship, which could either mean with family, or because that's like a unit, right? Your family's a unit, or in a relationship with someone. And when you're in these types of intimate, relationships, a lot of the time, especially if you're a people pleaser, and by the way, if you're empathic, you're a people pleaser, you're more likely to be a people pleaser, and you want the other person to be happy, not just because you're trying to please them, because you love them, right? Like you actually care very deeply for these people that you're in an intimate relationship with. Why else would you be there? But so you want to make them happy, which is great. And I actually don't see any negatives with that. But what I want to talk about today is, and I just posted something on my personal page. I always say, fill your cup first, or put your oxygen mask on first. Now, I love talking about this thing people call selfish, right? And for myself, anytime I try to do something that, for myself growing up, I was always kind of looked down upon. So, and been called selfish. So I actually equated self-care to selfishness for a really long time. So I attached one to the other. Going through my spiritual awakening, I realized that what was true. And what is true is that self-care, especially if you're an empath, is something that's super critical to your well-being. And not even just well-being, but your functioning, right? there's a reason why, most of us probably have been on an airplane. There's a reason why they tell us to put our oxygen mask on first during emergencies. Because we are absolutely no help to other people if we're lifeless. Does that make sense? Can you give me a heart or a like? A thumbs up if that resonates with you guys, or if you guys understand that. Because at the end of the day, it's not common sense, because I actually don't believe in common sense. I believe in different perspectives, and not, what makes sense to one person doesn't necessarily make sense to another. But what I'm trying to say is that by putting on your oxygen mask first, doing your self-care first, and then you're able to properly, on an energetic level, be able to take care of other people. So, with that being said, when you want to make other people happy, that's great, but you need to be able to energetically be able to do so. So what does that mean? That means you should be able to want to in a positive way and not be forced to do it. So I'll give you an example. My mother gave birth to me, gave life to me, right? I'm very grateful for that. I love my mother. And sometimes she wants to do things that I don't want to do. And if it involves something that drains my energy, or if I'm in a bad place where I know I can't extend myself energetically, vibrationally, I will decline. Now, if I was actually able to, right? And when I say when I'm able to, meaning, I have arms and legs, I can physically go and do whatever, or feel obligated. Yes, very good word. I could physically do it, but I'm actually choosing not to, because I know on a spiritual level that I can't spiritually be able to do whatever that is that makes my mother happy, right? So putting it that way, it's actually not being selfish, it's self-care, right? So you're actually taking care of yourself first. And I think it's so important. Hi. I think it's so important, and it happens a lot with family units, because you always just want to, make the other person happy. You want to be part of the family. You want to be part of the unit. You want to be the best girlfriend or boyfriend in the world. You want to do those things for them, but you have to make sure that you are energetically at a level that you actually spiritually can, without sacrificing yourself, your energy. Because energy is real, and I was talking to somebody today about it. Don't underestimate how people make you feel. If people make you feel obligated, that's something, I love that you brought that up, Janelle, because that's something you really, really need to pay attention to, because when people are trying to make you feel obligated to do things, it's not really a great sign. That's pushing somebody into doing something they don't feel comfortable doing. And the whole goal here, right, and it's something that I teach, if you guys been following me for a while, I teach living your life from desire and things that you want to do. So when things are pushed at you and make you feel obligated to do them, it's not really a good feeling. That actually lowers your vibration. A quote I stumbled on: a person not happy with themselves will never be happy with you. I totally agree with that. Purification. I totally agree with that, Ella, 100%. And you notice, right? That's actually funny that you bring it up, but you actually notice even in a unit when somebody's actually not happy, they often make you feel obligated to do these things so they could create some type of happiness without looking within or figuring out themselves how to make themselves happy, right? I noticed that too. But yeah, so I teach from making, aligned action, acting from passion, acting from desire. I don't teach about doing things that you feel obligated to do. I don't teach from making the other person happy, even though it doesn't make you happy. Look, it's great if you want to, for example, you're in a relationship and you hate the movies, but one night but your significant other loves the movies, and you decide to compromise one night and go to the movies. But that's only if the movies doesn't energetically drain you. You have to think about which, if you're in a good place, one movie won't do that, right? But you have to see the difference. It's not going to the movies, 3 times in a row because the loud noise really, really drowns you and you can't deal with it and you're really in a sensitive place right now and it's just not a good idea. There's a difference, right? And that's what compromise is really a beautiful thing. And compromise actually lands on the on a positive scale, I believe, because I believe a lot of things are positive or negative. And I definitely think compromising is not a bad thing at all. I think it's actually essential for relationships. But yeah, if you can vibrationally, energetically be able to do these things, then I say go for it. But don't apologize when you can't, and don't, and it's easier said than done, and I'm not trying to tell you how to feel, but that guilt and that shame that you may have that comes along with having to decline something, it's hard. It's, guilt and shame are two things that I still really, really struggle with. It's, happiness is not a place, it's an emotion. Love that. Love that. Yeah, shame and guilt are two things that that they're really the hardest emotions. Obviously, they're on the negative scale, but they're the hardest emotions to let pass. I'm not really sure why. They're really, really, really heavy stuff. Regret is another one, right? Nostalgia is another one too, right? Guys, everybody thinks nostalgia is actually positive, but it could be negative, keeping you in the past and things like that. So by the way, feelings, and you guys know this if you've been following me for a while, I believe feelings are just there to, first of all, tell you, get you in a more aligned direction. So listen to what your body is saying, listen to what your feelings are saying. I also believe that they're there to be felt and let go, right? All they want to do is be acknowledged and then released. So, we need to release, we need to feel the guilt, we need to feel the shame, and then just let it go. But they are very, very normal feelings to have when you feel obligated. I love that word that you brought up, Janelle, because it's really, really fitting here. To do things to make other people happy, especially if you're in a unit, for sure. And like I said, I really just teach from a place of aligned action. I don't think we're supposed to, and I think that is a really big misconception, especially about people in families or relationships, is that you think that you are supposed to spend your life making other people happy, when it really is their responsibility to make themselves happy and then come together as a unit and be happy together and compromise as long as you are able to, when you are energetically able to. That's kind of the point. And I think a lot of it blends into codependency a little bit, which is a little scary. Yay, thanks for the hearts. I'm a recovering codependent, and I can totally see how the two can blend. So the goal is to be as authentic as possible to who you truly are. You know what you can tolerate. You know your energy levels. As long as you are clear with them, if you meditate every day, you're probably more in touch with, what you're feeling. So you know what you can do and what you can't do, and then this is where boundaries come in. I actually talked a lot about boundaries in the past, and I think I'm going to continue to do so because it is so important, especially if you're an empath. It is super hard to keep boundaries when it comes to why am I blanking out? Keep boundaries when it comes to protecting your energy, right? So authenticity is the goal, protecting your energy is the goal, and living in aligned action is the goal, right? We're not here to make other people happy, and I think that's so important to understand. And if you notice, guys, the people that tend to do that the most, the people that lived for other people, to make other people happy, you've seen it, an overbearing mother, a woman who's codependent in her relationship, they tend to fall to the martyrdom, playing the martyr role, which is, I don't know if there's a real definition for it that really resonates, but it's kind of like, actually, I think I looked it up before. It's a pretended or exaggerating suffering to obtain sympathy, right? It doesn't really have anything to do with empathy. It has something to do with sympathy. Since my spiritual awakening, I felt more of an obligation to make others happy and feel good. But I realized before and after my awakening that I must have strong and firm boundaries, or else people will eventually trample over them. Yes, 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 yes. Make others happy and feel good, but I realized before. Exactly. And, it's not just really about obligation, about making other people happy. Sometimes it has something to do with self-worth. I don't know what your situation is, but, when I look back, I wanted people to like me too, especially in the unit. Like, all I wanted to do was desperately fit in relationships, which is how I became codependent, amongst other reasons. With my family, I feel like, there's actually this great Instagram account that says it's called The Black Sheep Survives. And I just thought it was just a brilliant name, because it's like sometimes you just feel like a black sheep in your own family. Like, you grew up with these people, they gave birth to you. It's just, it's so funny how, I believe you pick your family with your soul contract before you come here, but it's funny how you can just be completely different from people. Also, I realized that my angels and guides will not judge me for setting my boundaries and holding them. No, I think they're there to support. They're there to support you to enforce those boundaries, I believe. Yes, totally. So back to the martyr thing. If you've noticed, the people that really kind of live to make other people happy, they end up in that martyr role where they're asking for sympathy, and they kind of say things like, well, I do this for everybody. Like, I do this all the time, and I don't get anything back. Codependency as people pleasers and being the fixer, neglecting yourself for others. Yes. So the martyrs usually say things like that, like, oh my God, I've done nothing but make this person happen. I've done nothing but support this person. I've done nothing but et cetera, and I didn't get anything back. Now they're putting the blame on themselves, playing the victim, when they've actually made the choices to continue to live their life to make other people happy. So it's actually a really, really vicious cycle, and it's not a good cycle. Being a martyr is not a good thing. Is not a positive thing, I should say. So just be careful of that, because you can wake up one day, and I encourage you to look at your own life and wonder, if you're living that life to please other people, or are you living a life that makes you feel good and you're fulfilling your desires every day, and you're doing your passions and all that really good stuff. So I encourage you to take a closer look at your life and really look at the actions that you're taking. I talked about time yesterday. What are you really busy doing? Is it making other people happy, or is it actually fulfilling the things that you want to do, or things that feel good, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my challenge for you guys. Cool. Oh, so many people are joining. I'm so glad. Cool. So I'm actually going to wrap this up. I kind of went all over the place, but hopefully it makes sense. Really, at the end of the day, my intention about this live is to go on and make sure people understood that we are not here, even if we're in a unit. A lot of people are in a unit. A lot of people are in relationships. A lot of people are have family dynamics. We're not here to make them happy. We're here to coexist, love each other, support each other, empower each other, and we can do this without the codependency factor. Busy defending from BS you didn't create. So keep that in mind. And this topic triggers me because I actually have a sister that told me that, yay, thanks for the likes, guys, told me that that I'm very, very selfish, and that I should be doing things to make other people more happy in my family dynamic. But my things that are going on in my head is more of what are they trying to get from me to make themselves happy. They should be working on what makes them happy internally. Helping others and expecting something in return as a form of codependency should be done for its own sake. Yes. Exactly. The desire to want to help somebody should come from a place of authenticity, not from a place of expecting for something in return. That's very ego-based. So true. I love that you brought that up. You guys are so awesome. We all vibe. I love it when you guys comment on my stuff because it makes sense, and it's really good to talk about this stuff every day and just really be conscious of it. Like, whose life, who are you living your life for? And you just really need to be very, very conscious of that, especially if you like live around your family, right? I know for me, when I was like living more with my family, it was like very hard for me to decipher, being an empath, to separate what their wants are and what my wants are. I totally get that. And same thing with the relationship, I tend to stay single for a really long time because I tend to really engulf myself in a relationship, being an empath, which is something I'm working on. But it's really, really important to really kind of figure out your desires, what makes you happy, and acting from, taking aligned action from an authentic place. That's the family dynamic most of us were raised with, and what we should strive to break free from, or at least analyze. Yes, or at least be self-aware of it, and really recognizing that, it is very, very codependent situation. Totally, totally, totally. Okay, guys, I'm off to the races. I'm off to start my day. They want us to do everything for them. You crack me up. So true. So true. Okay, cool, guys. I am going to head out. I will be on tomorrow. I'm so glad that some of you resonated with what I was talking about today. And I will be on tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll see you guys. Bye.